welcome to the agenda today on Dominion Broadcast Group. Lovely Wednesday morning. I'm excited to be here in the studio. I am Chike Ubogu. Let's start this. Hundreds of commuters plying the ever-busy Sango-Elele Road in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, yesterday were stranded as a result of protests embarked upon by students of the Polytechnic Ibadan. The students embarked upon the protests as a result of the recent announcement made by Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State to rename the institution. Makinde has few days ago announced his plans to rename the Polytechnic Ibadan to Omololu Olunloyo Polytechnic Ibadan. Well, I'll be joined this morning by the Public Relations Officer, Students' Union Government, the Polytechnic Ibadan, Akonde Ridwan. I'll be joined by him, but introducing my guest in the studio this morning, Charles Odolakwa Anjorin. It's good to have you in the studio this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Chike. I'm equally excited to be sitting alongside you.
You know, sometimes I ask myself, how do you get your head so shiny like that?
I use scalpel.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. I hope you don't perform your surgery on yourself soon.
No, I don't use scalpel personally. I deliberately ask my barber, to use scalpel, yes.
All right. So I'm envious of that head.
Okay.
All right, a quick one. It's been in the news since last week, but yesterday a protest erupted in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, where students have come out to the streets saying, no, enough is enough. We don't want to rename our institution. The Polytechnic Ibadan, Ishelu Ogunshe, still remains the nomenclature. Well, we've been asking questions and getting same answers. But do you think these people will have their way, or Mr. Governor will still have his way at the end of the day?
I think it would be nice if the governor can actually listen to the voice of the people. The voice of the people, they say, is the voice of the gods. The name, the Polytechnic Ibadan, is an historic name. You must not just wake up one day because you want to honor the memory of a man, and change some institutional memories. I think the name of the institution should be left the way it is, the Polytechnic Ibadan. If I were a student of Polytechnic Ibadan, coincidentally, I did my OND, back then in Polytechnic Ibadan before I, transmitted to University of Ibadan, for my first degree. So I think it should be left that way, the Polytechnic Ibadan.
The Polytechnic
yes,
Ibadan.
And the governor should listen to the voice of the people, because that's what happens in a democracy.
Well, yesterday, the students even got the nod of the deputy governor of Oyo State while he addressed them yesterday, and telling them to calm down, that the governor is not in now, and they should just take things easy. I just pray the state is proactive enough so that these are students, so that there won't be a crisis that will erupt at the end of the day, and it will be something that will not be able to be managed.
Going by antecedents, I think the current governor is a believer of, is a Democrat. He believes in democracy, based on his antecedents. I think he will listen. He's not known to, enforce, or, force or shove down issues, down your throat, So I think he will listen.
But what do you think government should have done to be able to, make some sense out of the immortalization of Victor Omololu Olunloyo?
I think what happened was the necessary stakeholders were not carried along. Maybe probably before now, a committee should have been formed, from the angle of the state government, then meet stakeholders from the Polytechnic Ibadan, most especially the arm of the SUG arm of the institution, Then maybe the Senate, of the Polytechnic Ibadan to sit down in a round table. Then the government, bring their proposal to the table. We would like to rename this institution in the memory of this man. So there would be like a judge, around the table. The government will adduce their reasons for wanting to do that. The institution will also be aware, and they would come to a conclusion, reach a compromise. And, the renaming of the institution would not be as chaotic as it is right now.
All right, we'll go on this quick break, and when we come back, we'll be joining the Public Relations Officer of the Student Union Government, the Polytechnic Ibadan, via Zoom this morning. Stick around, don't go away.
no doubt in my mind that with this collection, we are going to set agenda. More importantly, we are going to enforce social ethics. Because part of the problem of Nigeria is that the state is too powerful and the society is too weak. So when the state begins to misbehave, the weak society has no power to hold them into control. So we begin to do social exercising. So we not only report, we will not only inform, we will also set agenda.
All right, welcome back from that break. Joining the conversation this morning is the public relations officer, Students Union Government, the Polytechnic Ibadan, Comrade Akinade Ridwan. Good morning. It's good to have you on Dominion Television this morning. Yeah, Ridwan, Comrade, can you kindly speak up a little bit so you'll be audible to our audience? Right. Nice, interesting. Yes, yesterday there was a traffic logjam around the Polytechnic Ibadan axis, the Songo Road. And then it happened to be that students of the Polytechnic Ibadan protested over the change in nomenclature of the institution. Well, as a member of the student union and an executive member as the PRO of the student union, what was the resolution before that protest by the union government? What was the resolution? What did you resolve to? What did you resolve to before embarking on that protest?
Majorly, the renaming of the institution by His Excellency Engineer Oluseyi Makinde actually is unexpected from His Excellency because of the heritage our institution contains. So that reason why we students of the Polytechnic Ibadan, we are actually refusing, like we didn't want the name to be renamed, like the nomenclature of our institution to be renamed by His Excellency, which is Omololu Olunloyo Polytechnic Ibadan as.
Hmm? With Comrade Ridwan. All right, welcome back from that. Well, we're having some technical issues at the moment. However, let the show go on. I will try to establish contact with Ridwan Akiade later on. That's the Public Relations Officer of the Student Union Government, the Polytechnic Ibadan. Well, moving on the agenda this morning. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, ex-Senate President David Mark, former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido, and other key figures within the People's Democratic Party have called on party members and Nigerians at large to support the emerging coalition aimed at unseating President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 presidential election. But before we go there, let's join Ridwan Akiade this morning again. That's the PRO of the Student Union Government, the Polytechnic Ibadan. Yes, Ridwan, good to have you back with us in the studio.
Can you hear the mic, please? Can you hear the mic? I hardly hear you, please. Can you hear the mic?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, it's good to have you back online now. Okay, quick one, Ridwan. Before we went off that break, that call, I was asking, what was the resolution of the Student Union Government before the protest yesterday?
Thank you so much. By the joining of the protest, before the joining of the protest, rather, we dropped a letter to His Excellency Engineer Oluseyi Makinde, including the House of Assembly of Oyo State. We wrote a letter to the House of Assembly of Oyo State, and before the press release also, we haven't gotten any response from His Excellency, and we haven't gotten any response from the House of Assembly of Oyo State. So after the press release also that we wrote and we dropped, we haven't seen any response. That's what makes the student union and the student at large putting into the protest stage. So it prompted us to have a drastic attention on the name of our institution, whereby we, the students, we believe it will belittle the image and the heritage of our institution to be renamed as Omololu Olunloyo. So that is why we, the students and the student union at large, we are seeking on retaining our institution to be the Polytechnic Ibadan. So after getting to the secretariat, because the students at the early morning yesterday, so we went to the secretariat for protest, and it's a peaceful protest. It's a peaceful protest. It's a peaceful protest, and we met. Unfortunately, we didn't meet the state governor, so we met the deputy governor, and we dropped a letter to the deputy governor, and he told us he's going to drop the letter to His Excellency, and we are giving us 3 days ultimatum for the response. So that's the agreement we had yesterday regarding the renaming of the institution.
All right, you are giving the government of Oyo State 3 days ultimatum to listen.
I can't hear you clearly, please.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so you are giving the Oyo State government 3 days ultimatum to listen to your plea. So then,
We are not giving them 3 days ultimatum. They gave us 3 days. They gave us 3 days. That's the agreement we had yesterday.
Okay.
That in 3 days' time, we get the response from His Excellency.
Okay.
So that's what we are waiting for. And we believe His Excellency is the father of students in Oyo State, and he will surely listen to the grievances of the students of the Polytechnic Ibadan for our name to be retained as the Polytechnic Ibadan.
okay, apart from your name being retained as the Polytechnic Ibadan with the slogan Ise Logunshe, now, what else do you want the state government to do with the name of the first rector of the Polytechnic Ibadan? That's Victor Omololu Olunloyo. What do you want government to do with that name?
Can you repeat the question?
Now, if the government goes ahead to give you a response, what then do you want the government to do with the name Victor Omololu Olunloyo as the first rector of the Polytechnic Ibadan? What do you want government to do with that name, or do you want government to just discard that name entirely?
Thank you so much. As regarding the name, we really appreciate what the concern of the government on the first rector of the Polytechnic Ibadan, which serves as honor. But instead of renaming our institution, we believe there are a lot of things that the governor of Oyo State can do into our institution in the term of maybe constructing a building, naming the building late Dr. Omololu Olunloyo's building, we have 1,000 capacities in our institution in the Polytechnic Ibadan. The governor can just make like an expansion, like he can construct maybe 2,000 capacities, 3,000 capacities for our institution to be named like for the institution, for the building. I mean the building to be named like, okay, Dr. Oluloyo's building, instead of renaming the whole institution as Omololu Oluloyo Polytechnic Ibadan. So that's what we are expecting from the government. Maybe the government can even listen to our grievances, like our concerns, like we don't want the name to be changed. Instead of changing the name, the government can even rename, construct the building and name the building Omololu Oluloyo. Even though the Polytechnic Ibadan, we have the quality of being a state university, we have the privilege, we have the capacity. But regardless of that, we are looking into the state government to consider our grievances, like the name to be retained as the Polytechnic Ibadan, not Omololu Oluloyo. Instead of naming our institution Omololu Oluloyo, it can just look for, we have a landscape in the Polytechnic Ibadan whereby the governor can construct a building, name it Omololu Oluloyo, which will serve as honor to the whole Polytechnic Ibadan in the whole Polytechnic students. So,
all right, Ridwan Akiade, before I let you go, lastly, today is Wednesday. Is there any protest today by the university, by the Polytechnic?
I can't tell you clearly.
All right, today is Wednesday. Is there any protests going on within the premises, or has calm returned to the Polytechnic Ibadan?
Please tell me to hear the mic and the question. Can you able to repeat it? I can't hear clearly.
Okay, if you can hear me, Ridwan, can you hear me now? Ridwan, can you hear me?
Sir?
Can you hear me, Ridwan?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, now today is Wednesday. What are the plans of students today? Is there any protest ongoing today, or has calm returned to the Polytechnic Ibadan?
That's what
Has calm.
Are we protesting today, or what you are?
Has calm returned to the Polytechnic Ibadan? Has calm returned? Has there been normalcy as we speak?
I can't hear. I can't hear you clearly.
Okay, it's unfortunate we can't hear Akiade anymore. But
clearly.
Okay.
You know, the question I'll be answering, I must be conscious of the question that will be answering.
Can you hear me now? Are you?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so the thing I'm asking you, today is Wednesday. Has calm returned to the Polytechnic Ibadan, or is there still any protest ongoing?
No. Yesterday, there is no protest anymore because we protested yesterday, and we are expecting, like I said then, that we are expecting the feedback from His Excellency. So, and we even dropped a memo for the students that the activities continues today. So, even though students are having CBT tests today, and even though lecturers and staff, students, everyone has resumed office and for classes, the students also, they resumed their classes, so they started giving lectures.
Okay, Ridwan, if you can hear me, lastly, the question now is, after 3 days, you don't get a response from the government, what happens?
We are not expecting a negative response from His Excellency because His Excellency is the father of the students in Oyo State, and we believe he will surely listen to our grievances as the best and one of the best governors in Oyo State. So that is why we believe His Excellency will give a positive response which will favor the students of the Polytechnic Ibadan at large.
All right, thank you, Comrade Ridwan Akiade. That's the Public Relations Officer of the Student Union Government, the Polytechnic Ibadan, for featuring on the agenda this morning. All right, the agenda continues here. Dolakbo, you listen to the PRO of the SUG this morning. Well, there seemed to be a partial truce between the government and the students, and then government have given them 3 days to get a response from government, and then they take it up from there. Well, protests well organized and then results oriented, right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, now we'll be moving on from the Polytechnic story and back to the coalition, where former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, ex-Senate President David Mark, former Jigawa State Governor Sule Lamido, and other key figures within the People's Democratic Party have called on party members and Nigerians at large to support the emerging coalition aimed at unseating President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 presidential election. This call was made in a communique signed by David Mark, which was issued following a PDP coalition meeting held on Tuesday in Abuja. The communique read in part, and I quote, "The meeting encourages all well-meaning PDP members and other patriotic Nigerians to join the coalition. All coalition partners must be united on the issue of national unity, democracy, national security, and national economy, and the political will to stamp out corruption embedded in our institutions. The coalition partners to work out the modalities of winning all elections, taking it into consideration local and national peculiarities." End of quote. Well, you followed the meeting yesterday, and then the coalition seemed to be getting stronger. In the media, some sessions of the media, we started having stories of the ADC, African Democratic Congress, flying everywhere, allegedly saying that David Mark is the interim chairman, and then the former governor of Osun State, Rauf Aregbesola, as the national secretary of that party. Is ADC the vehicle for the coalition, or are they still waiting for the ADA, as it were, or has the PDP been decimated eventually?
You see, the emergence of the ADC, is not it wasn't a political chance, is the politics of chess. You see, ADC has always been shielded away from the noise. And when you look at it, they baited the APC government, most especially Tinubu, because they were confused. They don't know where...
Who was confused? What you...
I'm talking about the APC and, President Tinubu himself. They didn't know the angle where the coalition was going to come from.
Okay.
They didn't know. So you could see that they pushed the ADC for the ADA forward, and eventually they reacted.
The ADA was a bait.
Was a bait, yes.
So the reaction now gave birth to their next move for the ADC, bringing out the ADC.
No, when they pushed out the ADA,
yeah,
people in the president's camp quickly rushed to INEC to slot in another ADA. And this is to tell you that INEC cannot be trusted in 2027. So it's part of the game. That's the first political chess move. The people behind the scene, the people behind the coalition, they know what they are doing. You have the former Senate president, who is now the acting national chairman of the ADC. You also have a former governor,
a two-term minister, a minister,
and a former inner caucus, an ally of the president.
A former commissioner in Lagos State.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who is also now the acting national secretary. The game has just begun.
Well, chess is very interesting, and I wish I could play chess very well. But I can understand this game they're playing. But who will win the game? Well, where's the rook? Where's the bishop? Where's the queen? Ironically, the main opposition parties, including the PDP, Labour Party, New Nigerian People's Party, and the Social Democratic Party, have also been battling internal divisions of their own. How will they come out from their internal divisions to come together as a coalition to unseat Mr. President? That the APC did that in 2015 or 2014, prior to the 2015 elections, doesn't mean that they can also pull their feet. Or do you think they have what it takes? Although some of them were also part of the ACN, AC that transmodified into the APC in 2014 ahead of the 2015 elections. People like Rauf Aregbesola and others. Do you think they can pull the same feat ahead of the 2027 election?
You see, the difference between the coalition of 2014 and this current coalition is that there are no serving governors in this current coalition. There are no serving
yet. There are no serving governors yet. Because in politics, anything could happen.
Yes, but what you have right now, the political dynamics that you have right now, is retail politics.
Retail politics.
Yes.
But I see many of them as retired politicians coming together to form a coalition.
You see, you can call them retired politicians. These are experienced people. These are battle-tested people who have gone to battle, they have gone to war, they have won, they have a track record of victory. So they know how to win. You are talking about someone like Nasir El-Rufai. You're talking about someone like David Mark, you know, when he decided that, okay, he was not going to run for the Senate seat again and, you know, took a back seat. You are talking about someone like Atiku Abubakar. You know, he's a seasoned politician. I know he's still relevant up to today. You are talking about the Peter Obi, you know. So these are people that have gone to battles. You know, they have battle scars. And you want to wrestle power from the hegemony of the APC. You know, you gave a knife to a madman. Getting the knife back will never be easy. You need experienced people that will lead you, you know, to battle. So it's retail politics. You see, if you look at the political dynamics right now, you have people in the PDP who has not left the party, but working for the ruling party. And let me now tell you, you see, sometimes when the president, you know, called the state of emergency in Rivers State, it took governors in the APC because they were not happy. They forced the governors in the PDP to approach the Supreme Court on the issue. So this is to tell you that you don't even need,
well, that's an
governors.
allegation we might not be able to substantiate that.
It's not on the pages of newspaper, but I'm talking from, you know, from the place of knowledge, you know.
Okay.
I'm talking categorically with all authority, not authorization, because nobody has authorized me to say this. I'm talking with full authority and full knowledge of what I know. You know, they were the ones who forced the PDP governors to approach the Supreme Court.
But Peter Obi seemed to be floating in this coalition, and then Atiku Abubakar is taking the front seat as the leader.
Peter Obi is not floating. See, whatever you are seeing right now is just a political narrative. See, the talks of the platform, who is going to spearhead the coalition, the ticket, was long concluded, September 2024. So whatever you are seeing at play right now, you know, is just politics. The drivers of coalition knows their destination. They know where they are headed to.
Peter Obi recently came up with a statement that he would be vying for presidency, but he will be going for only a single term. Is this part of the agreement in the coalition?
Well, I don't want to be, I'm not authorized to say certain things, to be sincere, but I will try to deflect
we need to be,
that.
But we need to be informed. We need to be educated on this so that we don't go about hearsay. So if you have prior knowledge of this, you can share it with us so that we don't misinform the public. So is Peter Obi, his decision to go for a single term of presidency, is it part of the deal cut out in the coalition?
No, it's not part of the deal. I just felt the question that was posed to him was spontaneous. I guess he himself was not expecting it. So he had to, you know, answer the way he did. You know, and you don't expect him to say that, okay, this coalition, I'm not going to be at the top of the ticket. I will just be supporting whoever is at the top of the ticket. No, you don't expect him to say something like that, you know, amongst his followers. So
if this coalition succeeds,
yes,
with Atiku spearheading it, do you expect Atiku to still come out to run as president, or he should just take the back seat and sit as the chairman board of trustees of this coalition,
you see,
as a godfather?
Sincerely, for this coalition to work, there are two options. It is either the Atiku Obi ticket, or Atiku shelves his ambition and put Goodluck Jonathan at the top of the ticket. That's the only two options.
Why relegate a Peter Obi who had no structure per se in 2023? However, there was this obedient movement. He had no governor, he had no senator to his party, he had no House of Rep member to his party, he had no House of Assembly member to his party. He seemed not to have a structure, as it were, within wards and local governments. And he came out for the 2023 election and polled over 6 million votes. Now, why would you want to relegate him in a coalition if he will be joining the coalition?
You see, politics is very fluid. There is no guarantee. Let's take as an instance, if Peter Obi is running independently now, there is no guarantee that Peter Obi would get 6 million votes in 2027. As a matter of fact, the probability of he, getting lower than 6 million votes is high. In 2018, Atiku polled almost 18 million votes. But what happened in 2023? He polled 6 million. See, politics is fluid. And that is why for someone who won as a governorship candidate in 1998, didn't become the governor, and eventually became the vice president. So nothing is cast in stone. The fact that he pulled 6 million in 2023 doesn't mean that he's going to pull the same 6 million or pull above 6 million and he's going to win the election. That's just politics for you.
So you support that he be relegated?
I'm not saying
as a vice presidential candidate.
I'm not saying he should be relegated. I don't expect. See, every decision that the 4 people who spearheaded the coalition talks in September 2024, the deal they had, is binding already. So I don't expect anybody to renege on the deal. So if anybody is going to be reneging on the deal, probably maybe they would have another roundtable talk to access, events as it unfolds in the polity, to actually tweak their plans a bit. That's why I brought the Goodluck Jonathan angle, like that's the only 2 that's the only 2 tickets, 2 PMs that can work in favor of coalition in 2027.
Well, looking at the dynamics of politics, as it were, ahead of the 2027 elections, some things are unfolding already. The APC today has about 22 governors to itself. Now, well, we've said the same thing happened in 2014 prior to the 2015 elections that made Goodluck Jonathan lose the election.
Yes.
At that time. Goodluck Jonathan had 22 governors to his side. He still lost the election. But the dynamics has changed now. We have 22 governors on the side of Mr. President, on the side on the APC platform right now. However, the APC house seemed to be, the broom seemed to be, pulling out one by one from the bunch. The national chairman of the APC, that's Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, resigned as the chairman of the party. What is the implication of this to the party? Are we still going to see more resignations in the party? Is it a game in the party, as it were, or a decoy ahead of the elections in 2027?
You see, the game the APC is playing, APC is not planning to win a free and fair election in 2027.
How do you mean?
That's just the truth of the matter.
How do you mean?
If you have a keen eye for politics, you would easily see it. You see the resignations, the defections into the APC, it's just a way to try to legalize the illegality that they will perform in 2027. They just want to get INEC to write the results and claim that, see, we have 22 governors, we pulled 6 million votes in Kano, so it justifies this result that you are seeing. And we have this kind of mentality in our political culture in Nigeria, that once you have the governors to your side, they will be the ones to deliver the votes. Yes, on paper, that should be so. But, that dynamics have changed, in recent times. The fact that you have 22 governors to your side doesn't mean that they have all the voters in their pockets. So it's just a way to legalize the illegality they are trying to perform. President Tinubu does not even need some of these defections coming into the APC.
So what are the illegalities you're talking about?
The illegalities is that they want to write the election results.
You're talking like someone who is defeated already.
No.
As a Nigerian, you're talking like a defeatist.
No, I'm not talking like a defeatist. I am only telling you their plans.
How do they write results? How do they write this?
The right result, right from
It's
the
not
word.
possible because there is a process. You do your accreditation in the morning, and then you vote. You cast your vote, and then votes are counted. They are the polling units and transmitted.
Okay, let me put it this way. In the advanced country of the world, once you cast your votes, you begin to see exit polls, and that gives you an idea of who the winner of the election is going to be.
We are growing to that. We are not there yet.
We are not even close to that at the moment.
Yeah, but we are growing.
But
the
here in
Beavers
Nigeria,
the Beavers was introduced, so it means there is a growth.
was the Beavers used after spending over 300 billion naira on the election? Was the IREV result used? IREV was he used?
Well, let's
for
leave
the presidential
INEC
elections?
to
No,
answer
see,
those questions when the time
we
comes.
cannot talk about 2027 without also talking about INEC. I am just trying to tell you that the APC, as they are currently constituted, are not interested in having free and fair elections in 2027.
You can't tell.
They are not. That's why I said if you have a keen political
You're speaking like
eye,
you're a member
you
of a
would see.
political party who is anti-APC.
No, I'm not. I'm not speaking as a member of a political party. I'm just saying what I have observed.
All right. Concerned leaders, well, if you look at what is going on in the polity, concerned leaders have lamented that the All Progressives Congress, which came into being, according to them, on a false propaganda to save Nigeria from the PDP, it seemed to be against the people, you know, policies against the people. And then there's this ideology of trying to get out the APC. Is it that the APC-led government, the Tinubu-led APC government, has not done well for Nigerians? Is it that there's no positives from this present administration?
If you go to the streets, Nigerians are the real feelers of all these policies that have been implemented. Excuse me. On the pages of Daily Trust newspaper that I saw, a few days ago, it says over 600,000 Nigerians, have been killed. That figure alone, is a figure, or let me say, is a data, from a war-torn ravaged zone. 600,000 is an humongous figure. When they tell you that 600,000 Nigerians, have been killed in the last 1 year, that is a damning allegation. Even Ukraine, I'm not sure the war between Russia and Ukraine has recorded that so much death. And I am not sure that even the brief Iran-Israel escalation war, there were casualties up to those numbers. Judging from the numbers from that data, it shows that under 1 year of President Tinubu, that he has failed in terms of securing the lives of Nigerians, properties, the lives of Nigerians. He has failed on that front. You talk about the economy. It's not faring well.
How would you say the economy is not faring well when we had an all-time inflation index from over 33%? Now we are on about 23, 24%. There's been a reduction. So I think there's some improvement in the economy.
You see, if you
the
are
only
saying,
question you will ask is, how has it translated to the life of the common man on the street?
How has it translated to the life of the common man on the street? That is one. Number two, when their party took over power, what was the inflation digits? The inflation digit was 7%.
We had
single
double
digits.
We had double figures. I think it was about
No,
11.5%.
It dropped as at the time they took power in 2015. Inflation digit was 7%.
You mean 2015?
Yes.
All right. I thought
Yes.
you were saying 2023.
No, not 2023.
2015.
Yeah. So they keep saying that they are, reform. They are implementing painful reforms. Yes, we need to go through reforms, but the result of these reforms are not cascading down. The masses are not feeling it. Instead of it to get better, it is getting worse. It is getting worse day by day. We are witnessing an all-time failure from a government. Wastage here and there, junketing the globe here and there. You know, Nigerians need to see traction. Nigerians need to see that, okay, the government is actually making sacrifices. Take as an instance, the president is in St. Lucia with his entourage. He's claiming he has gone there to, you know, look for foreign investors. This is a country that has a GDP of less than $3 billion, even more than the GDP of Lagos State here. If you are going on a bilateral trade agreement, why not involve diplomats? That is one. So number two, the money used in junketing all over the globe, you know, can easily, you know, be saved for better things. You know, but for the constraint of time, I would let me just pause.
Let's set an agenda.
Okay, let's set an agenda.
Now, for the political space, now, are we saying that whatever coalition it is, that they must make things work for the betterment of the people, not for their own selfish interests?
Yes, exactly.
That's the agenda.
That's the agenda.
Well, let's keep this conversation going. Do follow us on all our social media platforms, on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. The handle is at Dominion Broadcast, and on the app X is at Dominion Cast. Visit our website on www.dominion.org.ng. Dolakbo and Johnny, thank you for featuring this morning.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Cheke.
My name is Chike Ubogu. Let's have a very positive day. Bye for now.